Good day. Well, last night I watched an extraordinary film on DVD called Volver. It's a Spanish film directed by the famous Spanish film director Pedro Almodovar, and it stars Penelope Cruz in her Oscar-nominated performance. I really enjoyed this film. First of all, let me just say it's one of the most beautifully photographed films I've seen in ages. The rich colors of this and the Spanish landscape vistas are beautiful, and there's just such a live vibrancy about this film that really draws you in. It's an unusual story. It's about a small town where the wind blows from the east constantly, and the people believe that the dead never actually die, but that they always stay with you until they've fulfilled their prophecy, I suppose. It has an unusual premise, but there's a lot of really wonderful little bits of subtext in this film, and once again, it's another one of these stories about connecting with people and living with your past, but bringing it into the future, resolving past. Quite amazing, and I can understand why she received an Oscar nomination for the film. And all the supporting cast are brilliant as well. Please don't ask me to now list them all, because most of the names are very Spanish, and I'm probably going to mispronounce them anyways. Now, director Pedro Almodovar is quite famous for his rather kinky movies, such as Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down, and he is an Oscar-winning producer-director himself for foreign language films. But this one is quite happy-go-lucky and quite staid for Almodovar film. I'm not going to go into the entire plot right now. Suffice to say that Penelope Cruz's mother seems to come back from the dead, and we see her trying to kind of come to terms with that, as well as come to terms with the fact that her daughter has murdered her husband. Not her daughter's husband, but Penelope Cruz's husband. And all the time she also sets up and reopens a cafe in the town to serve a film crew that's come to visit. So we have the kind of sordid side of the murders and the death, and then we have the happy side of the resurrection of the mother, and this whole thing that goes on in the restaurant, which is delightful. And there are a couple of scenes in this film that I felt especially emotionally attached to, because I lost my mother several years ago, and there was just a certain aspect of how Penelope Cruz reacts when she finds out about her mother's resurrection that really touched me on various different levels, and I found myself getting quite emotional while watching it, which is not a bad thing. That's a good thing, really, because big men do cry. I will say, though, that this movie is in Spanish with English subtitles, so if you don't like to read subtitles, I don't suggest that you rent it. Or maybe you can find a copy that's dubbed. Personally, I don't think you should find a copy that's dubbed, because then you're not going to get the real performances. You're going to get a performance on screen with someone else's voice dubbed, and it's just ridiculous to even think of watching a foreign film in a dubbed format, but I know a lot of people out there do, and that's certainly their choice. Anyways, Volver. Wonderful film. Highly recommend it. 2 thumbs up, 5 stars, and a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. And I've said that several times now. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it. That's like that Dylan's Couch guy who says hilarious over and over again. Anyways, that's it for now. Bye. Here, Elmo. Sit. Good boy.